Good morning, good evening, or good night, folks. I'm your host, Simon Redhand, and today we're going to just be going over a little Path of Exile, Necropolis League, build planning. Even though I just started my YouTube journey a few weeks, well, months ago, I've been working on my consistency and making sure that whenever I'm playing, I try to record it and put some content out. I'm working my way through Dragon's Dogma. I'm still playing that game. However, I consistently play Path of Exile each league religiously. It's one of my favorite games, and this league is to be no different. They announced Necropolis League. I know for sure I'm going to jump on that, so I figured I might as well capture how I go through my thought process of choosing a build for the league and how I go about planning things like that. Now, I'm no POB warrior. I admit that my method of doing it might be a bit different from others. I usually decide what skills I want to use, and then I kind of make a rough skeleton of the build because I like playing this skill and then adjusting by feel. And every league I usually finish my 38 challenges. I usually will start the pathing. It's gonna be a messy tree, but I'm just gonna be pathing the things, right? Like I know I'm probably gonna path over here to this cluster here. I'll you know, get to know it specific later on. I'm probably gonna path to this major cluster here because I need those. I'm probably gonna path to those major cluster here, and I'm probably gonna path all the way down here for this, right? So this is me. These are the wand nodes. I'm probably going to make my way to those nodes eventually, right? I'm also going to look up energy shields along the way, so to make sure that while I'm pathing those nodes, I have some survivability going on, right? So if I get those later on, if I can get my gear in place, I'll consider going to this side here. What other energy shield nodes are up and available that I probably should consider, right? I probably would consider, well, suppression, of course, consider that up here. Evasion, energy shield, maybe, probably, most likely. What else is here? Ethereal Feast, spell damage leech. What else? Probably consider this cluster for now. Definitely probably gonna get, well, I'm gonna go CI, so this cluster will be good early on, but plan on dropping it, right? Because I'm gonna get CI at some point, right? Most likely at maps. CI is close, but I'm definitely not gonna get CI this early on, right? What else am I looking for here? Probably there. The major energy shield node over here, right? Head down there at some point, right? What else? Most likely this as well. We'll leave it like that for now. Most likely that. Okay, what else here am I looking for here? It's a projectile skill. So I'm definitely gonna need projectile related nodes, right? So what projectile related nodes are around here for the wand and boost the damage that way? There's additional projectile available as one of the clusters, right? Isn't there? So additional pierce and see additional projectile, one forking. What's this one? Chaining, right? What else is around? Additional projectile, so I most likely will get an additional projectile. Do I need anything from this node here? Let's see. I'm not gonna use fork. Might use chain. We're not sure about this yet though. This tree is a maybe. What else? Anything else here? That might be the only thing I need from it right now. Unless I use chaining, which I'm not sure I'm going to do that yet. That might be the only thing I really need from here. Suppression also should be on the list, which I'm probably gonna put it on there right now. Just because the side of the tree I'm on, it's easier to do energy shield evasion than it is to do energy shield and armor, you know. I'm gonna need to get the elements up. I'm gonna start with checking out the ailments in the area, what ailment nodes are in this area here that I could possibly consider. We'll see what we got here. I've already got these ailment nodes from the wand tree here. This is frost oriented. I come back to it later. This is for dagger. Let's see what's here. This is considerable. Elemental force is considerable as a node for damage. This is for one-handers. Anything else calling out to me here in this area? Not particularly. Well, I'm most likely be using a shield. This is for reduced element duration. What else is here? So of the element nodes there, that's it. That I'm seeing that. Probably should put on my tree if I'm in the area, right? Next we're gonna check out the elements, right? Let's start with fire. What fire nodes in the area here? So we got fire and cold damage. This fire and cold damage hybrid over here. Not sure this node will be worth the investment. It's gonna require some items, but it's something to consider. What else is here? Ignite deal damage faster. Something to consider. I probably will get, since I'm already up here, the triple cluster here, right? And this might be all I really need. If I just invest in the triple cluster, right? Let's see here. Most likely go for the damage pen here. Let's see what else is here. We'll check this out after, but most likely get the penetrations, right? Also a cold one, right? So most likely get all three of those. Anything else in the area that I'm seeing here? No, nothing really speaking to me. So next look up lightning any lightning nodes calling out that I should consider. Cast speed, we're using a wand, so we need attack speed. If there's attack speed hybrid, you consider that, but wand spells are based on attack speed, so I don't really need that. Don't really need that casting speed node there. No, nothing else here that's really speaking to me. And the last is area of effect. And gotta be careful with this one because this is like this note here says spell skills of area of effect, right? I don't think elemental has a spell skill. It's attacks, right? So this wouldn't work. What else is here? This is for mines. This is for traps, I'm pretty sure. It's traps. What else is here? This is also traps. Hexes, spells, cast speed. This is the only area of effect node, and it already seems so far away. I don't know. I mean, I'm close to here. So something to consider if I actually am gonna stick here and pick up anything else. I'm gonna use a shield also. I should probably put shield on my list. So let's get back to the search. I got shield here. I'm probably gonna flesh out my defensive layers here first. I checked out area of effect. This is the only area effect node in the area. I could put points into it just so I can remember that it's there. It's the only generic though, right? And it's a high likelihood this is not worth the 3 points it's gonna give me. But I'm putting points into it anyway just to remind myself that it's there. So we'll look at shield next and check out the shield nodes that are in the area, right? So what we have here, this is energy shield and spell suppression, which I'm most likely end up getting that. But let's look at the straight up shield nodes here. So this increases spell damage while holding a shield, spell damage while holding a shield. This is not going to affect elemental hit at all. Spell damage leashes energy shield. This would work as a defensive layer. This cluster here will be worth getting, right? What's this energy shield? Let's see here. This is energy shield also. This is holding a shield. Against the block while holding a shield. Increase energy shield, so I probably would get this cluster also. What's down here? This is energy shield still. It's energy shield, right? Those are the only nodes that are available while holding a shield. Well, let's flesh out energy shield a bit more. Now, while I plan these builds out, I usually plan my builds for level 88 and 90. Like, I'm going to hit 90, so I plan around that. And then around 96 or so, I'll probably end up around there if I, start paying attention to dying. Because dying doesn't really bother me, so I don't really care too much. There's comes a point where I kind of plateau on leveling. And it's usually around level 92, 93-ish. I haven't made a build in a while that I got to like 96 without any effort. I think the last build I did that was able to do that was actually, I got there with Blink Your Mirror Arrow. I was able to get like 95, 96. And I got there with Corrupting Fever, whatever my Corrupting Fever build was melting. And I actually got there with Intro League Shattering Steel way back in the day when it first came out, when it was in its older state, when it could shotgun and all that rest of the stuff now. I don't know where Shattering Steel is at now. I haven't played it in so long. I don't even follow it when they do patch it. All right, so energy shield now. Yeah, we're staying in this area. That's probably gonna go away. Probably would get majority of this shield, this segment here, just because I think it's a strong cluster. I don't need the spell damage increase. What else? Anything else you're calling out to me? Probably get those. And here, this is spell damage still. Well, I get this whole thing ready. I already got this. What else? What's this? Max. Probably get all of this. Most likely need all of it. Anything else? Might get all of that too. Might get all of that. Now, I already know I'm way over, but what I do is I look at all the spells that could be useful in my build, and after that I have to edit it down. Been playing the game for a while, but I don't have that like encyclopedic PoE knowledge where I just know exactly what I need to go for. Alrighty, so get that. What are we at with this? With the nodes we have now? How close am I to Mage Blood? I mean to Mage Bane. Probably not happening. I mean, probably could happen. To really adjust the tree, but it's probably not worth going down to that. Maybe see if I get a Skin of the Loyal or something like that. Who knows yet? Haven't thought that far ahead about the uniques I'm gonna get armor wise. So 69% there. Probably get the rest off gear. I don't see any other suppressed nodes that I could pick up that's not going to be inconvenient. Even this is almost too far down. What else? Anything else around here? So this cluster, this node, I think that's about it. I don't know if I'm gonna do crit based or not. How far away on this tree is equilibrium? Can I even get to that? Actually, well, I need all three, so I can't even really use elemental equilibrium. It would just screw me up. Equilibrium is the one that alternates. There's another one I'm thinking about. I think it's equilibrium. It's elemental overload. That's what I'm thinking about. So if I don't do crit, then I could do elemental overload, which I probably should do elemental overload. I'll have to consider this one. Go through, edit this tree down so it doesn't look like a complete jungle gym. So before I start editing it down, I kind of got to scroll back and just look at the tree here and think like, how much further am I actually going with this, right? So this is way over, obviously, right? It's 137 points out of 123. What do I really need out of all these trees? Now, since I haven't done a wand build before, there are some questions that that innately come up that I kind of got to answer, which is, do I need accuracy for wands? I think I do, because when I look at the tree, this note here is giving accuracy rating for not wands, and I'm using an attack spell, elemental hit. I am going to need accuracy to properly use this attack, right? Because it is an attack, it's not a spell. Pretty sure it has a chance to miss. From what I remember, when you're doing accuracy, the easiest way to fully stack your accuracy, because I don't think I need a crazy amount of accuracy, but I am going to need one accuracy cluster. I believe it's actually, do I need a cluster, or is it just one of these that I'm going to get that's going to give me enough accuracy? It's probably going to be just this node, and it's going to be taking this here, this 500 to accuracy rating. So I probably have to take this. Is it in here yet? I don't think it is, but I should still be able to kind of mess with the numbers here. I mean, well, let's see. The numbers are much higher on this one, right? Like, look at the numbers on that. It's like 726, 391 to 726, 480 to 891, 75 to 1467, compared to elemental hit on the tree here, which is almost what, a third of numbers. Some of them are half. I think it's because it's all three elements at once, right? So it makes sense. I don't know what level you get Sacred Whiffs at, so I can't really plan around them either, right? I don't know when you'd get them in the build. Does it say on the website when they first get unlocked? Let me check the patch notes. So Sacred Whiff support is now offered by the witch, offered to the witch for completing Sharp and Cruel, and can be purchased from Yena by the Templar, Shadow, and Ranger. So it's given to the witch really early on. Sharp and Cruel. I don't look at the quest names as I'm doing them, so I gotta look up what Sharp and Cruel is. Okay, so Sharp and Cruel is the quest to get the Weaver's key to open up the gate there. Okay, so I know which one that is. But either way, it's Act 2. Either way, it's level 8 tier or something like that. Planning around having Trinity support while leveling up. Most likely, planning around having elemental hit, linked to volley, linked to elemental damage of the hits when you get dead around, I think it's level 18 for this one here. So we'll start off with Prismatic Burst. You get that right on the damn beach, right? And then I'll probably pick up Volley, so that's your 3-link. First 4-link will be either Trinity or Elemental damage with attacks, depending on which one I find first. And then ultimately the 4-link would probably be these three without Prismatic Burst. I think that's that should be probably the goal. Or the plan for leveling up. And out here, I probably need accuracy, so probably plan around that. Grace to the Goddess is in here. That's cool. We're not gonna dual wield it, but we'll plan around having it. We'll plan around having this equipped already, and we'll see what do I need here. I don't think I'm gonna do crit, so we'll go up this way. We'll probably drop this. I don't think I'll do power charges this way. If I do power charges at all, we already know I'm dropping this. As soon as I start stacking energy shields, I don't need that. I'm gonna drop that in a second, and since I figured out to get around to it, that dropped my whole tree. There we go, like that. I always hate how it just look like that. We'll probably go around this way to get to this. All right, here. So drop that. CI's over here. Probably not doing that until red maps. Would consider cluster jewels also, but first we're gonna look at all of this. This area effect is too far away. Probably cut it all together. This is something to do like level 96-ish. If I have extra points, come down here for those three, provided I don't use clusters, which I probably will use clusters. What else is here? What's this? Energy shield. That's fine. Probably keep all these. I don't care about the ailment duration too much, but I do want the penetration. Let's keep that. Keep this one too. Keep this one too. What else do we have here? Look here. I don't think I need that much accuracy after the 500, so we'll switch to that, and we'll plan around this kind of being a last resort, right? Like, so gonna come down for elemental overload. Right now, so this is level 98 here. This is still too much. I think elemental overload is probably worth keeping, and then we'll just gauge these notes here. Like, so this maximum energy shield, this entire loop is probably worth keeping here. Maybe for this. And then what's over here? Max energy shield reduce costs. I mean, that might be better. We'll cut off these 4 points here. leave this like that, down to 93. This is a more reasonable League starters layout here. This might be too far down the path. I'm not sure if I'm using jewels just yet. If I am, there's a jewel socket here. There's a jewel socket here. I'm not sure about cluster jewels yet, so I gotta go pull up some cluster jewels and kind of plan that around. But this is kind of like the baseline tree that I have in mind here. This is definitely a nightly tree. It's not perfect. And the idea here is now I'm going to pull up other tricksters on PoE Ninja and kind of compare if I'm in the right direction here. See what other high level tricksters have done who are using wands, if they are, and I'll check for other wand skills, not elemental hit, because I doubt there'd be any wand to see elemental hit, but other wand skills to consider would be kinetic blast, right? It's on there, or kinetic bolt, and with a wand. So how I usually go about doing that is I'll go up on PoE Ninja, head over to builds, just pull up the only class actually playing this, see what this guy, he's got a crafted wand here, mage blood. Mage blood kind of skews what this build can do. This item definitely skews what this build's gonna do. But I'm not looking to follow this build guy. I'm just looking to see the nodes he chose and to see if I kind of have the right idea with the nodes that I'm picking, right? When I compare it, I have the right idea going on with what I was doing with the Prism Weave. The right idea that I have with, well, I'm not using Utmost Intellect. And I think he's using that because let's see what he's got going on here that has him with utmost intellect. Assuming his utmost intellect because he's attribute stacking here. And he's attribute stacking like crazy because of this passive here. For this implicit here, 1% less damage taken per 180 intelligence. Also 100, almost 1800 intelligence going on here. Not something I would even consider doing. Look through his build. He's got a Wicked Ward, which I probably might get. I probably need that. I have, like I said, I've never done an energy shield build before, so I'm not sure what is necessary, what isn't necessary. I see that he's cut out all the nodes in this section here, so the wand node in that section there, it has different weighting for me because I am I'm using a tri-element build, so I might see some value in having it increased attack speed with wands. So it's hard to say that I wouldn't use this with elemental hit, but since it's not taken on this build, it's considered like, well, I might, if I have to drop something, probably this cluster here could probably be dropped, right? Probably this and didn't go down here, so probably down here can also be considered getting dropped, right? Didn't bother suppression, but then again, his suppression is being addressed by something we cannot do in this league, which is using these charms. These charms are gone, so cannot fix my suppression with this. Then looking at his clusters, since he's attribute stacking, his clusters are basically just damage. I'm gonna look for some wands, right? So I'll put Void Battery in there because it is a wand. So but I don't know if these guys do wand builds in general, so we put it in there. Like this guy's doing brands, so we'll block off brands so I don't see any brands. Wand. Let's see. No, I think I might be better off searching for the wand nodes themselves, like disintegration, right? So we'll search for one of the major wand notables and see that instead. I am assuming they have a wand mastery, then they're using a wand. All right, so let's see here. The wand uses here Chronicle of a Tragedy. Trees, another crit based tree. I might block off power charges also, just so I don't see that. All right. We'll check a look at the heat map here. A lot of people taking this cluster here. The pathing is correct on the outside here. If I was doing this, it'd be useful. The right idea with the lightning penetration for the build. I think most of these builds are only doing lightning as their main damage. Right idea here. Right idea, we're considering this. So yeah, for the most part, I'm thinking I'm on the right track here with what I'm doing here. This tree is something that I wouldn't be able to iron out until I started playing the game, just because I don't know how elemental hit's going to work, but I'm not worried about breaking it, right? So if I started leveling up, I would obviously go this direction. I would follow this path directly, go straight up this way here, around, and I would probably rush this. At that point here, I'd probably get some nodes to survive, so I would most likely get this cluster here, written in blood, just for some life, right? I would probably get one of these here just for some survivability. I would, with the intention of dropping them at some point, and then I would work my way up to these to have all of these done by the time I get elemental hit, right? And that'd be the initial goal, and then all the way down to elemental overload. That would be the rush here. Some uniques I've been considering as I'm planning here. I have a few uniques that are on my mind that I think might be interesting to take a look at come launch day. Grace of the Goddess I've already already brought up. I meant to search the Watcher's Eyes to see what Watcher's Eyes have elements I might consider. The Starlight Chalice here inflicts fire, cold, and lightning exposure on nearby enemies when used, and increased effective non-damaging ailments, even though it's a ward flask. We also have the Taming, which would be good early game. Get double of these while leveling up. Painseeker has some stuff on here that might be worth considering, just because of the synergy with the tri-elements that's already on there. Gang Momentum could be interesting, even though it only focuses on Ignite. It still increases your damage with hits and elements all around. And Mercenaries Lot could be interesting also if I decide to use a Sniper's Mark, which I probably will. And it could be interesting with the marks and all that stuff, even though it's a very intense depressured slot and there's other stuff I can put there. Beyond that, it's still something on the list to consider. And anything else on here? Yoke of Suffering. The new Yoke of Suffering is interesting to consider also, but I don't know if it's better than Leadership's Price. So Leadership's Price gives you access to Scorching, Brittle, and Sapping Conflux. So as for the Watcher's Eye, it's gonna be harder to get because of the changes they're making, but the auras I would be using while playing this build is most likely going to be, I would consider Hatred. Ooh, let's see, okay, what's available with Hatred? Flat damage, right? Flat penetration, right? What else do we have? I'd consider Wrath. I think it's the same thing, right? Flat penetration. Let's see, flat penetration is on there, that's pretty good. And flat damage is on there, also on there. And phase converted is also on there. What else is there to consider? Would not use anger. Malevolence? No, it's zealotry. Actually, this is an attack spell, so I don't think malevolence or zealotry would work. I think that's it. I think that's all I could really consider. For my auras is hatred, maybe haste, but there's nothing on Watcher's Eye that I really would rush beyond spell suppression, right? Spell suppression is grace, so probably maybe defensive Watcher's Eye. Maybe the purities, which reminds me this tree is mighty glass right now, right? So I would have to trim it down some. I didn't consider my evasions, which I definitely will need my evasions still. As recalled, I didn't go over why I'm picking Trickster, right? So for the Ascendancy, Soul Drinker, one step ahead. Polymath, right? Our goal is primarily to stay alive. I think that's gonna be it for now. I don't like power PoE warrioring it too much because the skill itself, it doesn't really exist. It doesn't exist. I don't like crafting blind items in hopes to kind of mimic and replicate the stats of the item. I'm gonna level this thing as elemental hit. I'm gonna try and find it through lab on my own, and once I do find it, and then I'm gonna actually go through and tighten up the tree. I'm very confident in my ability to get the maps with this basic tree and tweak the rest of it. I'm very confident in my ability to fix my survival and my defensive layers. The gems and all the rest of that stuff, they'll come together later. I'll probably do like a day 2, 3, 4 update of the build itself and show what it's capable of doing, where I am and all that stuff there. And I'll show you how much of this POV I kept, what I got rid of. I'm not really sharing this POV. This is my brainstorming session of how I plan on working and what I do need. So it's not much of a tree that's like, hey, this is a tight tree that you should pick up and league start and all the rest of that jazz. No, none of that crap. This is just my thought process, how I go about looking at a skill gem that I want to use for a league start and how I go about pathing it out, what I need to consider while leveling up, and, where it's going to go from there, right? It's probably an ugly process. People have probably done this before. Like, this is not how I do it. I pull out, the PoE trade site and I craft everything. It takes me 6-7 hours. But not for me. It's just, I just need enough to survive the beach and make it to Act 6, really. And then I can go from there and really practice and really work it out and really get the maps. I've never had a league where I've just stopped at a character. I'm like, I can't figure this out. So I'm quite confident in my ability. So I don't. So while this might look interesting to some of you, I was like, oh, I don't know about this, but I'm confident that I will get this build to T16 maps, and I'll polish this POV up, and then I think at the end of the league, when it is done, I do get it working the way it should. After I actually get the hard numbers and video clips and all that stuff, I'll put it up on the channel. I'll see how I treat POE, because I'm not a dedicated POE streamer. It's just a game I love and I play it a lot, so I'm definitely going to get in the habit of recording it while I am playing it. So as always, folks, thank you guys for dropping by. I appreciate you for giving your time. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have yourselves a good morning. And if this is the only video you watch of me today, a good afternoon or a good night.